Oh, you can sit on my lap. Why not? Okay. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you have been a part of my channel before, you maybe know that I have been kind of MIA for a while. I kind of just took some time to reevaluate my passions and what I want to do with my education. I really wanted to do something that was helpful and that was beneficially challenging for me and also for other people, and I just didn't feel like I was doing that before. I am coming back now with a heightened desire to share about health and nutrition and kind of living your best life. And so we're going to start out today with kind of basic but really big things on how to be healthy, be lean, and to feel good. Quick background on my nutrition journey. It was about 6 years ago. I was in just kind of like a really bad place in life. I was really sick all the time. I was really tired all the time. Like I wasn't like sick, but just so tired, so bogged down. I couldn't concentrate. I would get sick really easily if people were sick around me, so I had like a really weak immune system. I could sleep for like so many hours a day, and I just would wake up so tired. And I actually had to drop out of school for a little bit because I couldn't focus. My head always hurt, like it was miserable. And I knew that just something was wrong. So I went to the doctor and they diagnosed me with depression and put me on depression medication. And I just knew that that was not right. I was not clinically depressed, like something was just off. So I went on my own journey to figure that out because I was just not going to accept that that was my diagnosis. So long story short, I just kind of took to the internet, took to some books, and I ended up completely turning my life around, getting my energy back, getting my health back, and it was all from a really pretty simple diet change. But I really didn't want to stop there. So over the past few years, I've been obsessed with how you can kind of heal your own body and try to avoid, medications that aren't necessary and just be your best self, look your best self, all with diet and nutrition. With all those studies, that led me to this book called The China Study. It's written by Dr. Campbell and his son, also Dr. Campbell. Some of the main diseases that he talks about in this book: heart disease, cancer, diabetes, and obesity. We probably know someone, maybe a lot of people, or maybe even ourselves, that suffer from one of these. If you're around my age, these major diseases probably aren't a concern quite yet. Being healthy and looking good and feeling good definitely are. And when you think about being healthy, avoiding those diseases probably come to mind because those are definitely very prominent killers in America. From my kind of several years of studying and personal experimentation, I want to share with you how to look good, how to feel good, how to be healthy, plus prevent these major diseases that we just talked about. That sounded like a total plug, but it wasn't. So first, let's talk about being healthy. So think about what this means to you. It might be avoiding colds and the flu. For some, it might be being skinny, being fit. But I think for most people, besides those things, it's going to be avoiding these major diseases that I just mentioned. So let's start with cancer. This chapter is called Turning Off Cancer, which is a super interesting title. Dr. Campbell did a ton of research on rats, and in his research he would feed two groups of rats a dose of aflatoxin, which is a very harmful cancer-causing agent, and in the only difference that he would feed each group of rats the same amount of aflatoxin. And I think I'm saying that right. If I'm not, it doesn't matter. Just know that it causes cancer. He would feed one group of rats an animal protein diet, and he would feed another group of rats a plant-based protein diet. And his studies turned out that 100% of the rats in the group that were fed animal protein ended up dying of cancer prematurely. 0 of the rats that were fed the plant-based protein diet died prematurely from cancer. 100 to 0. That's 100%, I guess you would call it, success rate in a study that rarely happens in scientific research. That's crazy. And the only difference, like I said, was animal-based protein and plant-based protein. Crazy. This is ultimately a liver cell here, and then here's the aflatoxin entering it. Enzymes are what are responsible for metabolizing the aflatoxin. If they're healthy enzymes, they detoxify the aflatoxin. If not fed properly, can also activate the aflatoxin, which essentially forms the cancerous cells. The more they're fed, the more it reproduces. And once there's one cancerous cell, we all know it just spreads like wildfire, unfortunately taking the lives of so many people. So his research showed when they tried to figure out why these rats were either dying or not dying, was that protein, animal protein, was activating the otherwise detoxified aflatoxin. And it was flipping the switch on these enzymes and telling them to activate essentially the cancer. He went on to do further studies where he'd take the group of rats that was being fed animal protein and had already developed cancer, and he would switch them to a plant-based diet, and it would actually decrease the cancerous cells in their body. So the cancer had already formed and was forming rapidly, as cancer does, and a plant-based diet, switching from animal-based protein to plant-based protein, would actually decrease and reverse the cancer. That's kind of why this chapter was named Turning Off Cancer, because they were literally turning off cancer. I mean, it's amazing. And it was just with the change of diet. Heart disease is another one. We hear a lot about heart health. We don't want to clog our arteries, etc. You know, running's good for your heart. And a lot of the things that we hear are true. But again, in these studies, an animal-based diet has really negative effects on the walls of our hearts, on our arteries. Another doctor that Dr. Campbell was really close with did a study with patients that had high cholesterol or high blood pressure? Yeah, high cholesterol, meaning that the arteries in their hearts weren't functioning properly. And all he did, he just told them to switch their diet. They could eat as much whole foods, so, you know, fruits, veggies, nothing processed, no meat, no dairy, as much as they want, whenever they want. There's a picture here of an artery of patients before, and the light part here, which is really skinny, was the artery before, and the light part is showing blood pumping through the coronary arteries, so the arteries of the heart. Here is after 3 weeks. After 3 weeks of switching to that diet, this artery is triple in size in a good way, not being blocked and allowing the blood to flow through. Again, no medication, no special exercise, just switching their diet. For 3 weeks, that artery tripled in size, allowing blood to flow through. It reversed it. I mean, these people were already sick. Just switching their diet reversed how their arteries functioned. That's pretty crazy. Imagine if you started eating a whole food, like vegan diet, so early in life. I mean, even from the day you were born, how much damage that could prevent and how like healthy and amazing you'd feel. This trend of like joking about bad diet and like shoving your face with cookies and like eating 15 tacos, like it's not funny. Like people joke about it all the time, and I think that when you're younger, you just think about like your weight and your physique, which is something that you can kind of like brush to the side because it has to deal with your self-esteem. It's not funny to joke about a poor diet. It's just not. It's like killing us. It's putting us in such a bad position. It's not funny. And we need to do something, or we're all gonna end up dying from like these horrible diseases so prematurely, and we're gonna feel like absolute shit our whole lives. So speaking about being lean and skinny, obesity could probably also be considered a disease. We certainly know that it can cause a lot of health problems, but even if you're not obese, I think, you know, it's very common to want a nice physique and to be lean and fit. There are a ton of diet fads out there, whether they're like super protein based to jack up your muscles and help your workouts, or they're super low carb so you can lose weight, or it's a Whole30 because it's just good for you but you only have to do it for 30 days and blah blah blah. I mean, there's so many out there, and some of them have some really good pieces, but a lot of them are just fads, and they're, you know, meant to be short term, and they're not necessarily giving you the right info. The best news about eating vegan and eating only whole foods is you can eat as much as you want whenever you want. There's not even that like don't eat, you know, after 10 p.m. or like right before bed. That rule in my book at least, does not even apply. Because, I mean, if you're just feeding your body with these whole foods and these like vitamins and nutrients that it needs, I don't think it's gonna be mad at you at 10 o'clock and like not process it. You can sit and eat fruit and veggies all day and be fine. I feel hungry less. I feel like I'm getting the things I need. And before, I would get kind of like lightheaded if I was hungry, kind of shaky. That hasn't happened like once since I've switched to a vegan diet. I mean, I try to stay on top of eating and not starve myself, but if I do get a little hungry, I don't feel like I have this like kind of like low blood sugar all of a sudden. It just all depends on kind of like listening to my body and listening to what I need. Think about the Chinese people. For the most part, they are very much plant-based. They have been for centuries. They survive on mostly plants and rice. You know, there's some fish and whatnot in there. But for the most part, the Chinese people, you know, in the country of China are very slender. And they're not scrawny. They're not, you know, malnourished. That's not a coincidence. That really doesn't have anything to do with anything other than their diet. So lastly, let's talk about mood. It's kind of plain and simple. If your body is getting what it needs, and if you're eliminating what it doesn't need, those things that it has to fight off and are making you feel bogged down and sickly, it will reward you. And I know this so much from personal experience. We're not meant to be sick and tired and have headaches and be not focused. I know we can be busy and overworked and try to blame it on that. And I know a lot of people are saying this generation is too busy and work too hard and that's why they're so tired and have headaches. But our bodies can still, you know, as long as you're getting some sleep, our bodies can still fuel us for the day without us having headaches and being so tired. It knows how to take care of us, but we need to take care of it. Like I said, it's kind of a no-brainer. Give your body what it needs, take out the shit it doesn't need, and it's gonna take care of you. It's gonna give you your ideal physique and you're gonna feel amazing. Even if you're busy and you feel overworked, I mean, try to take care of yourself, try to take care of your mental state and not be too stressed out, but definitely check your diet too and make sure that you're fueling yourself for those extra hours, for, you know, that extra time on your feet or all that studying you're doing or whatever. Make sure you're fueling it. Otherwise, you're definitely gonna fizzle out. Your circuit boards are just gonna go crazy if they're trying to, you know, fuel your brain power and all these things and deal with stress, and it's also not, you know, nourished, literally nourished. That's really all our physical body needs, is to be nourished and taken care of and getting the rest that it needs. Our bodies really are, as complex as they are, they're really just basic science and really just need to be fed properly. My mood was one of the biggest things that changed when I switched my diet years ago, and it improved like astronomically. But even now, switching to this vegan, more whole foods diet, I've had even better energy. I've slept even better. I've felt a lot better in my workouts. I've just kind of had more energy. I feel like they're more beneficial. I've been a lot more focused, and I wasn't even necessarily trying to improve my mood. I didn't feel that it was negative or needed improving on. Now that I'm getting more of what I need and less of what I don't need, my body is literally thanking me. I now crave more of these good things. If you like ever see me cook, I literally try to cram as many veggies as I can into like whatever it is, or like if I make a fruit bowl, I try to get as many different like fruits and stuff that I can, so that I'm just like getting more of it. Like I want it, and it's honestly a reward system, and it's just between me and my body and what I feed it, and it's incredible. I've really noticed just a huge personal difference, and I know a lot of people have many personal stories about a vegan diet. I know it can be kind of more about like animal rights and stuff like that, and those are definitely important. The way that we're feeding ourselves with all this meat and all this dairy and focusing on those as like our core food groups, and ignoring all these like wonderful vegetables and fruits and plants and herbs that our bodies really are truly meant to have, it's really killing us. It's really taking us down in a literal sense. There are a lot of myths out there about health. There are a lot of big companies that are the producers of meat and dairy that don't want us to know the truth behind it. They don't want us to know how it's made and the negative effects that it has on our body, and they really want to convince us that that is our staple diet, and kind of teach kids like, oh, fruit and veggies are yucky, you know, get your protein and get your calcium. And protein and calcium are super important, but the main source that, you know, Mother Nature gives us is not from cows and chickens. The majority of protein and calcium is in plants, and the only reason that you can get those from cows and chickens is because that's what they eat. That's why their body is made up of it. Okay, my battery just died. Thank you so much. But now we're back. And really all I had to say was thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that this was beneficial. If you have any questions or comments or any like further insights on this kind of stuff, I'm definitely still learning. I just really want to get started on this, and if this first video wasn't like top notch, I don't even care because I started, and hopefully it can like help someone or encourage someone on their journey as well. Anyways, thanks again for watching. Bye.